Shalom and welcome to this edition of Revealing the Truth, where we cover the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth. I'm your host, the Reverend Rabbi Eric Walker. God speaks. He speaks through His Word, through sermons, devotionals, hymns, and songs, but He also speaks through dreams. Think of how profound it was that the dream He gave Joseph wound up being the salvation of the Jewish people from death by famine. But in that dream, God used cows. Maybe there's more to understanding our dreams if we knew what some of the symbols and settings really meant from a biblical perspective. Our next guest, Marsha Dunstan, is the author of the Complete Guide to Dream Interpretation, a simple step-by-step process to biblical interpretation, and she appears right here on Revealing the Truth, usually on the first Wednesday of every month at the 10 a.m. hour. Marsha has been helping others understand their dreams for over 15 years after receiving training through John Paul Jackson's Institute for Spiritual Development. She now runs a dream interpretation teaching ministry from her church and provides free teaching and interpretation for people as a ministry of her church and through her website, mtdunstan.com. Here to help us navigate the rich symbols and biblical messages contained in dreams is Marsha Dunstan. Marsha, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. So you said that you're under spiritual attack. The fire, the smoke alarms are going off in your house?
Oh my goodness. Every time we do this show, we are pummeled. Last night, the smoke alarm started just going off. We changed the batteries everywhere. This morning, I come down to do my routine Bible study. I come in, sit in my chair, and everything's fine for about half an hour or so. And then one smoke alarm starts chirping again, new batteries. Then another one starts and we're off again. Well, my husband had to go buy new batteries again and replace them out. So we'll see how this goes. But every single time.
Well, normally we have a whole intercessory prayer team that's always praying for the show. But I woke up this morning and I was going through show prep notes and doing my study and all the things that I do, and the power goes out. No, there's no storm. There's not a cloud in the sky, and the power goes out. So I get dressed, I shower in the dark, get dressed in the dark. My dog comes running in, like with this idea of, so what's going on? You know, hey, where's the lights? Where's the lights? Where's the lights? But I just checked online and the power's back on, but there was no apparent reason for the power outage.
Oh, we have had a continuous array of things going wrong. One time, just before the show, and we had to cancel that time, my Wi-Fi chip just went out. It was working 5-10 minutes sooner, and then it just wham, it's gone. I went and bought a new computer. Monday of this week, that new computer crashed on me. Using my husband's computer now, and we've had issues with that yesterday. It started acting up. So it's just, I can't begin to tell you how many times things have happened, and they're bizarre, weird things.
Well, it's every time we get into the spiritual realm. We have this with some of our other guests, where we're going to reveal or do some breakthrough teaching or some dynamic revelation, and for some reason we get them online and poof, they're gone and we can't reconnect with them. So we've got to drop a replay in and find out a half hour later that they had some major catastrophe. Somebody ran into the pole outside of their house or something happened, and it's just spiritual warfare.
Yes.
And we actually take it in stride. We laugh. There was a post by one of our publicists on Facebook, and there were like 9 or 10 tips to authors who do media. And questions like, well, what if they ask me a question that I'm not prepared to answer? And he tells them how to deflect. And what if they I forget some of the other ones, and I said, look, I can tell you from firsthand example, if you spill your coffee on your shirt, just keep talking. This is live television, Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, we don't have time for you to go change clothes, okay, while we sit here and wait with dead air. Second of all, it makes it real. People don't buy books. They buy stories from people that they're interested in what they have to say. That's what sells a book. That's what gets people really interested in the concept. That's why you're so fascinating to us, because you are one of a kind. And I've told people that I come out of traditional Judaism, rabbinic Judaism, where there's a whole lot of mysticism. There's a whole lot of Kabbalistic, supernatural, hidden codes, all kinds of things. I grew up in the Jean Dixon era. You remember when everybody hung on every word she said. She'd be on Johnny Carson, and she was like 72% accurate, and they thought that she was some kind of a crazy, spiritually enlightened person. I've lived through the New Age movement, which is still going on, but and people are getting trapped into, and they say, why do you have somebody on that does dream interpretations? Isn't that a little bit edgy? Isn't that a little bit outside the scope of your biblical truth mantra, your biblical truth mandate? And I said, I have checked Marsha Dunstan out, everything but a DNA and an FBI check. And I have read the book cover to cover. I have examined and tested every single, I would take random samplings from each one of your symbols, and I would go straight to the scriptures and see whether or not I confirmed what your conclusion was. And we track 100%. And I'm so fascinated because before you and I started this, and we're going on a year now that we've been doing this together, maybe even longer than a year. When did the book come out?
It came out in May of last year.
Okay, so since May of last year, once we had you on, we said, this is it. We click, we connect, we want to talk about this. I started having vivid dreams. And it opened the door to all of a sudden whatever was blocking, which was lack of understanding, lack of relationship, lack of really embracing how significant dreams are. I just wasn't a real vivid dreamer, but lately I've been having incredibly vivid dreams. I just can't remember what they are. But I know that I wake up from them and they're very vivid. I remember faces, places, people, things, objects, all of that, and then I go back to sleep and have another dream. But this is what you do. So when you started this training, how did God speak to you and really tell you that dreams were an untapped resource of supernatural download that the world has just primarily ignored?
Yeah. This started where I got a dream about, of course, I've had dreams forever. Just like so many people out there, in vivid dreams, dreams of flying, dreams of being chased and knives stuck in me, and good, bad, all of that. Very susceptible to nightmares. And that's something, people that get a lot of dreams usually get a lot of nightmares as children. I've learned that. But anyway, to back on your question, I got a dream about what tilted me to paying attention. I got a dream about someone, and it was so vivid. I was in this van, and as the van was sinking underwater, I could feel the pressure against my chest. I couldn't breathe. I could feel I could just feel it. And I woke up from that, and it was so strong. And I called this person and said, how are things going? Are you going underwater? And she responded with tears and said, yes, our business is going under. And then I thought, oh, and then I told her about the dream, and she said she had had the same dream 3 times in the last couple of months. Slight variation, but essentially the same. So that told me something is real here. And then I started checking this thing out. And of course, there's Jungian stuff out there and Freud and all of that. And I've read about it, but it didn't line up with what I was experiencing. It didn't line up with the Bible and the dreams in the Bible when you apply those concepts. So I started seeking, and I was directed to John Paul Jackson's Stream Ministries, and he was alive and teaching, and I've taken several. I've taken his classes. I've come and gone to several of his conferences and met him a few times. We were never very real close, but he's been my mentor. And through his teachings, it has pointed to Jesus, to God, to the Holy Spirit. And people need to know this. And so I started talking with people and doing classes, and you just see these people, things that have troubled them and tormented them for years. And you just speak the words of the Lord, the dreams, the symbols to them. And it's just a release of what they've been fighting all this time. So it's a freedom. It meets our needs. It's something the Lord, it's a way He is talking to us, but we ignore it. You can see I'm passionate about that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we have Faith Blatchford on. I don't know if you've ever connected with Faith, but Faith is out of California and has written a book on winning the battle for the night and how people have diminished the value of sleep. We take these sleep aids, we want to numb ourselves, dull ourselves, but God orchestrated sleep as a place for the repair of the body, the repair of the soul, the repair of the spirit, and a place where we are captured in unconsciousness, where He can meet us without any of the natural blocks that we put up during the day. And it is a battle for the night. It's reclaiming the night for the Lord, and then reclaiming your dreams to have an open channel. And this open channel is really quite amazing. There's been a lot of revelations about people, places, and things that have come to me in dreams that I realize now. And you made an important statement. You said that this person had this dream 3 times. In the Bible, when God does something 3 times, it's as if He's taking His signet ring and sealing it. When He does it the first time, He does it. He does it the second time, you wonder, is there a pattern forming here? But when He does it a third time, it's an emphatic, it is so let it be written, so let it be done. God is let it be so. It's going to happen. And when we look in the Bible and we connect all the dots, we find that 3 is really a very complete picture. Of course, it's a picture of the Trinity, and it's also a picture of God's final word. He may do it 35 times, but it's that 3rd time that establishes that it's a pattern.
That's right. That's right.
So it's really quite interesting. One of the things that we did was we began to invite our audience to send in to either through our website, which is ignitinganation.com, and we have a contact form there, to send us their dreams, and we would forward them to you and then cover them on a future show, or to send to mtdunstan.com dreams to you via your website, and have you put together a compilation of dreams. And one of the things that we agreed that we would do on the program is that we would take some of those dreams and discuss them so that people could bear witness to how the process works. This encyclopedia, I know that it's called The Complete Guide to Dream Interpretation, a simple step-by-step process to biblical interpretation, but I consider it to be my encyclopedia of dreams. It is really a comprehensive guide that is covers so many things we don't even think are relevant, and shows you their relevance. You think about that Joseph dream with the cows. If I had that dream and came to you, would you immediately say that, oh, well, we're going to bow down to you, or you're going to consume me, or all of the things that were responded to? Joseph didn't understand it, but the response was they got a message, and ultimately 25 years later, which is really what's fascinating about dreams, is there's dreams for the now, there's dreams from the past, and there's dreams for the future. And in Joseph's case, it was 25 years from the day he had the dream to the day that he had his brothers come to him in Genesis 50 and bowed down before him. And you finally saw the cycle complete, that exactly what God had shown him was going to happen, happened exactly the way God said it was going to happen. But there was a 25-year span in between. And when you think about that, I know that Joseph probably didn't spend every day wondering when this day was going to come. He was put out and dealing with the consequences of his life and the circumstances of his life, giving no thought to the dream. But we get, in retrospect, the ability to look back on it and connect it and see that what was prophesied through a dream came to pass exactly that way. And so it's an encouragement for people that are having dreams, that your dreams may not just be for now. These may be prophetic dreams and dreams about things that will happen in the future. And I think you encourage people strongly to journal and to record and date and timestamp and go back and review when various events happen to see whether or not you did dream about them.
That's absolutely correct. David Wilkerson, most viewers out there know who he is. Back in the 60s, 70s, when he was really going strong, he hit a wall and he was getting visions, and part of that may have been through dreams. I'd have to do some heavy research to know whether the visions were implanted in the dreams or just as where he just saw something. But these visions were amazing. But the church itself kind of poo-pooed him because they didn't immediately come true. And he went through a period where he was literally kind of laid down and not thought of very well. And then it was only until later that it all came about. So we need to be really careful when we hear these things and not expect it to be done in our time. This is in God's time. So,
especially if the dream is from God,
if the dream is from God, exactly.
Right. And so, one of the things we want to clarify is some of the sources of dreams. Maybe you can take us through that, and then we'll jump into some of the dreams that have been sent in.
All right, that's good. Yeah, of course, God gives us dreams. We know that, or hopefully we're teaching people that. But our body can give us dreams, and could be a reaction to medication or even food. But our soul can give us dreams, and the Bible speaks of our soul dreams. These are dreams, fears, desires can cause soul dreams. Things that reflect the dreamer's culture and learning can be soul dreams. They're saying, I think, I want, I feel. These things in the dreamer's mind and in the everyday world can often come out in a dream as a desire. And just because it's in the dream doesn't mean it's going to come. It's not a God dream. But these are false dreams that are brought on by what we want to happen. Jeremiah 23:16, I believe it is, says, we cause the dream to happen through our minds, our wills, our emotions, or feelings. So we need to really watch those. And then, of course, the enemy can give us dreams. So when we get these dreams that are very convicting and we just beat ourselves up over it, I should say condemning, right, where we beat ourselves up over it, those are likely from the enemy. If a dream is convicting, where it's looking through our junk and it's telling us what our motives really are, what we're really working out of. Those are probably God dreams, but when they're condemnation dreams, they're not of God. So we need to realize that and throw those out. And then God gives us a whole bunch of different kinds of dreams, prophetic dreams, dreams about where we are, what we're dealing with, dreams of healing, direction dreams, calling dreams. It just goes on and on.
So we can be influenced by anything from bad pizza to supernatural intervention of God and a message for now or a message for later. And we just need to be more cognizant of our dream life, because it's, for the average person, 7 or 8 hours of every day. You spend more time in sleep than you do with your spouse. You spend more time in sleep than you do in your job, because you're sleeping 7 days a week, you're working 5. So it's, God has the body set up in a special way that this must be pretty significant to God if it's 1/3 of your life over the course of birth, where you're sleeping 22 hours a day, to getting to be older and older when you're sleeping a little bit less. That overall average is 1/3 of your life is spent in a place where God wants to meet you. He set it up for it to be a meeting place for himself. And do we really put our heads on the pillow and invite him in to our sleep? We bless the food and then we invite him to the table. And it reminds me of the expression that God is not asking us to do more for him. God is asking us to do more with him. And why shouldn't we want to dream with the Lord and invite him to be a part of that?
That's right. That's right. It's just one more tool he's used where he can have a relationship with us and speak into us. It bypasses our will and our mind, and it goes straight into our spirit, his spirit to our spirit. And it's a place, a way that he can put things in us and we can receive it. We may not even know it's there, but later down the road, it'll come out. And I think we've all had those kind of dreams or experiences where you hear something and then it pops, and then a dream or a jumps out of something that was already in you. So yes, it's a communication tool.
Our personalities have a lot to do with whether or not we're open to suggestion, whether or not we're open to receiving. I think that, men don't talk about dreams. They don't talk about a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I don't think we've ever received a dream request from a man to be interpreted. I would love to see that happen, because men do dream. Men's dreams may be different than women's dreams. There may be something to the predisposition of a man's mind versus a woman's mind. It may become clear through dreams. I don't know from a sociological perspective or biblical perspective if that's the case. I'd love to hear and invite some of our male viewers, which is, let me see, what is it, 54% of our audience are male, to email your dreams to info@ignitinganation.com, or just go to the website ignitinganation.com and fill out a contact request and send us that dream, and I'll forward it on to Marsha for an interpretation. We're talking with Marsha Trimble Dunstan, author of The Complete Guide to Dream Interpretation, a simple step-by-step process to biblical interpretation. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to dig into some of the dreams and the interpretations that go along with those dreams right after this break. Not everything that makes the headlines has biblical importance, but many events that happen around the world do, and you never hear about them. Igniting a Nation is pleased to teach Revealing Prophecy every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the Marriott 280 in Birmingham. We will cover worldwide events and insider information that will connect the dots of what's happening around the world with biblical prophecy. If you happen to miss a class, we'll televise each week's class at 10 o'clock Central Time on ignitinganation.com and all our social media outlets. Copies of the teachings will also be available to purchase on our website at www.ignitinganation.com. The Lord meets you right where you are, and so does Igniting a Nation's new live streaming outlets. You can now watch Revealing the Truth, Revealing the Bible, and Prophecy Revealed simulcast live each Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Vimeo, Periscope, and through our website, www.ignitinganation.com. No matter what device you are using, our program will automatically scale so you won't have to miss a single program. And if you happen to miss an episode, you can always subscribe to the Igniting a Nation YouTube channel and access over 1,000 interviews and never miss your favorite authors, special guests, and topics that interest you the most.
There are lots of ways to see Israel, but nothing compares to seeing the land of the book and the people of the book through the eyes of two Jewish believers who can take you on a journey that will bring the entire Bible to life. When you join Rabbi Eric Walker and his #1 rated tour guide, Edo Canaan, in Israel, you'll experience incredible teachings, first-class accommodations, and actually walk where Jesus walked. You will experience the Bible transforming from black and white into living color, and you will never see the Bible in the same way again. For more information, visit us at www.ignitinganation.com/events.
The Lord contends with what contends with you, and Igniting a Nation is committed to bringing to light each and every issue that faces a believer's life. Our live stream programming and teachings take you on a journey to finding biblical truth from a wide variety of experts who share their insights into a deeper walk with the Lord. We have assembled the most comprehensive panel of experts in the fields of prophecy, caregiving, healing from trauma, shame, and abuse, and so much more. We continue to expand our teachings and programming to meet your needs. We're committed to healing the nations with biblical truth. Visit www.ignitinganation.com to develop a deeper walk with the Lord and start your journey to a transformed life. The Bible commands us to study to show ourselves approved, but most study using Bible study tools and not actually studying the Bible chapter and verse. Igniting a Nation is pleased to present Revealing the Bible, recorded and taught each week before a live audience. We take you deeper into the actual Bible and verse in both Hebrew and English and connect the dots between the Old and New Testament. You can attend our 2 classes in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, or watch the program every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time on ignitinganation.com and all our other simulcast outlets. For more information, visit www.ignitinganation.com/events. Shalom and welcome back to this edition of Revealing the Truth, where we cover the headlines, the heartlines, and biblical truth. I'm your host, the Reverend Rabbi Eric Walker, and we're talking with Marsha Dunstan, author of The Complete Guide to Dream Interpretation, a simple step-by-step process to biblical interpretation. Marsha, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Before we went to break, we said that we were going to talk about some dreams. So we kind of laid the foundation in the first segment about dreams and about how God speaks and how we should be preparing ourselves to receive it and even asking for those dreams. And so even those people that struggle with night terrors, if you dedicate your night to the Lord, anoint your bedpost with oil, anoint that room with oil, take it back from the enemy, and God will be faithful to meet you right where you are. But we've had some viewers send in some dreams, and you've got some dreams that have been sent to you directly that are kind of related to the cow picture that was portrayed in Genesis through Joseph's dream.
Well, I thought, since we were talking cows earlier, I just happened to have this in front of me on my desk here. And I'm going to read this dream. It's just kind of fun, but it talks about the cows. The dream itself says, the clock read 7:01 a.m. and I hear a trash truck already passing by our house. I didn't have time to put out my trash because usually it comes later. But as I look outside, there are 2 cows walking around the neighborhood. My neighbor says to close the windows and doors so they don't get in. One come to the back of the house and used its nose to open the window and tried to stick its nose through the window. I close it quickly. My husband brings down the kids and says, "What's going on?" I respond by saying, "There are cows trying to get into the house." So I got this dream, and I've already responded to the person about this direct, but since we're talking cows, I thought it'd be fun. Cows are often people. And I hate to say this, but sometimes women have been called cows. Of course, a cow is a female, a bull or a steer is the male, so that makes sense when you think about it like that. So the windows and doors is, when someone is seeing through a window in a dream, that tells me that usually that person is getting some kind of revelation. The Lord is trying to reveal something to that person. So in this, they are looking through a window. Now, what are the cows doing? They're trying to get in. Well, and they're going around the neighborhood. So often, I talk to this person, I says, well, cows, it looks like stubborn women are trying to get inside your life, inside your home, and it's stuff that's going around the neighborhood. And she said, oh, the gossip. The gossip in our neighborhood has been rampant. And there are people that I'm trying my best to close my door. I don't want to hear about it. And I said, well, this is what this is about. So, why did God give her a dream about cows and gossip? I think 90 to 98% of our dreams are about where we are, what we're dealing with, and that sort of thing. And this is one of those. It just kind of says to her, yeah, there's gossip going around. You were right to respond the way you did. It's kind of a hug from the Lord and letting her know that she's right on. So I thought that was a fun dream after your cows.
Well, it is a fun dream, and it also tells you that God knows what's going on. This is confirmation to her that her circumstance, what she's going through, matters to the Lord. And it may be that people think that they don't matter. That, God can count, He knows how many hairs are on my head, and they hear these messages on Sunday about how much I matter to God, and then I go and I face my humdrum job and my humdrum marriage and my humdrum kids and the bad report card and the flat tire and all these things, and you tell me, God really cares about me. Listen, save it, buddy. If you had my life, you would say God doesn't care about me. But here you have in a dream, God's saying, look, I know your circumstances. Okay, it says, he that watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Hine nayum, the Hebrew escapes me right now, but he who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Meaning that while you're sleeping, he's watching over you. And he contends with the things that contend with you. Now, we've heard that expression many times, but do we really believe that God really contends with what contends with us? Does our circumstance in our little neighborhood, our little subdivision, really matter when there's North Korea working on a nuclear weapon, when Iran is rattling their swords, when Israel's on the verge of war, when they're killing babies in New York? Does God really care about the gossip in my little tiny subdivision, in my little suburban neighborhood? And the answer is, in this dream, God cares about what matters to you and what you're going through. And he's not too busy. And he's not the God of that the prophets of Baal where Elijah is saying he's on vacation, he's asleep, he's taking a break, he's tired, he's too busy for your little craziness here. No, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, cares about this person's circumstance and is telling her in a dream, right, that I contend with what contends with you. I know what's going on right there in your neighborhood, and I want to give you a word of encouragement. I think that that is something our audience needs to hear, and we need to understand that even the little things, right, the little things that bothered this woman about what was going on in her neighborhood, God was sending her a message that she's on the right path. Close those windows. Stay the course. Okay? Keep it out of your home. If people want to poison their homes with this dirt and this gossip, well, let them do it, but don't you be a part of it. And I'm right there with you, cheering you on. You kept them out. Keep on keeping on.
That's right. That's very good. And I love his humor. You know, he uses cows and they're being nosy. I mean, they're nosing their way in. It's a nosiness. Isn't that fun when you think of how God is so funny? Of course, he created humor. So
he did. He did indeed. Good.
I have some more here. Would you like me to continue?
Absolutely.
All right. This next dream is a different dreamer. Actually, this person is also a woman. She sent in 3. I'll read the first one. It says, I saw people I didn't know, and they were walking in a sort of catatonic state. Then I'd see them sprayed with bullets, like from a machine gun. But the bullets didn't kill them. They jarred them awake. And then she woke up. So to look at the symbols of this, I would say, you know, she saw people. Who are the people in this dream? Well, it appears that she doesn't know. Well, she even says, didn't know who they were. So it's speaking of just people in general. Now they're walking in a sort of catatonic state. It's speaking of these people are oblivious. They're unaware of what's going on around them. They're sprayed with bullets. Okay, a gun is often a symbol for power. And Jeremiah 23:28-29, it even calls the word of the Lord, it likens it to a hammer and to a tools and that sort of thing. But words are power. So these people are being sprayed with a lot of hurtful power. And it's coming fast and furious, machine gun. But it didn't kill them, and it jarred them awake. So what is that speaking of? It could be saying people, I see this as a revelatory dream to her. It's a prophetic word for today's era. But it says people are unaware or oblivious to what's going on around them. However, as they're being pummeled and targeted with distractive, powerful stuff coming at them, rather than causing them to lose their way, they're becoming aware. So, you know, there's so much concern today about the bad stuff coming at us. This may be a word of encouragement, or somehow it's a word, and actually I believe it ties into the next 2 dreams, and we'll talk about that. But it's a word that this stuff is people are going to start becoming aware. So.
Well, I think it's definitely a word for today. I think it's a dream for today, that it seems that America is asleep at the wheel, and while they're asleep at the wheel, laws are being passed to kill babies at full term. This is horrific. This is the days of Noah. These are the days of Lot. These are the days of babies being sacrificed to false gods and to idols, and the sacrificing of babies to Moloch. And we see this in the world today. We see it in this country today. But the outcry is just not there. People are kind of just, they're overwhelmed by sadness for the situation, but the people that are marching, we saw the March for Life, and that was wonderful, but there's more marches and protests about the border and about all these other things than there is about the sanctity of life of a baby. And you would think that New York would a state, the entire state has voted to allow full-term abortion. You're talking about at the moment the baby is about to exit the womb, and it's okay to murder this child and call it legal, is just beyond evil. It is, and God says, woe to those that call evil good and call good evil. And this is one of the woes that we're going to be looking at in our generation. And hopefully this dream is a prophetic dream for the nation that says we are being sprayed with bullets like a machine gun. Anti-Semitism, racism, abortion, legalization of Sharia law, voting rights and Social Security for non-citizens, benefits for non-citizens. My family came to this country and came through Ellis Island and went through the immigration. I have all of the papers of our immigration status, that we did it by the law, where they swore allegiance to this nation and disavowed any allegiance to any other authority. Those that commit themselves to Sharia will not renounce Sharia and will not commit to the Constitution of the United States as being the highest authority. And people are unaware of that. And the United States government under the Obama administration was about to make changes to it, to the immigration laws, and I believe they may have even passed it, where you no longer have to make that statement because it supports your commitment to a higher law than the government of the United States, which is Sharia. And so we are unaware and we are asleep, and we need to be sprayed with this and be awakened, not killed, not hurt, but jarred awake so we can do something about it. I think it's a great prophetic word for the nation.
Very good. Yeah. Wow. And, I hadn't placed this with that circumstance, but I see you're right on with that, I think. Now, the second dream she sent, she said she had this a while back. It goes, I was next to a van. Then I got into the van. And when I got out, I was on a familiar block. And a wise old person stood next to me as I was watching a bunch of people on the block loading their cars like they were leaving town. I said, maybe we should go. The wise one said, not yet. Wait till they're fully ripe. Then the person disappeared, and I stood there as two more people appeared next to me. Then I could see in a distance a large herd of various animals stampeding towards me, but I could see more dust than I could animals. Then I woke up. Okay, so if we want to just look at the symbols first, she speaks of a van. She was next to a van, then in a van. So a van is often, a car is often your work, your life, could be a ministry, but a van is usually a little bit bigger, unless she really has a van, but in this case, it's not hers, I don't believe. So it's probably speaking of a business or a work, or maybe an extended family. But she gets in it, and then when she's in a familiar place, she's out of it. And a wise old person that stood next to her. Well, who is this person metaphorically or symbolically? It could be God, it could be a word from the Holy Spirit, or it could be someone that the Lord has put into her life that is giving her a word of wisdom. She's watching a bunch of people on the block loading their cars like they were leaving town. This to me speaks of people preparing to leave a situation. She's getting nervous apparently because she says, maybe we should go. But this wise one says, not yet, not yet. Then there are two more people there. Now, who are these two people? We don't know totally. It doesn't really talk anymore about them. It could be that there's two others in the same situation. It could be angels that she has next to her. Often angels will appear as people, especially if they're kind of just with you and helping you get through something. It's just kind of a word from Father God that, hey, my angels are there on alert for you. Then she sees in a distance a large herd of various animals stampeding towards her. Okay, this is speaking of something big. It's beings acting out of the world. So it's worldly stuff that's coming at her threateningly. But what really happens? There's more earthly upheaval. She sees more dust than the animals. So there's more earthly upheaval than actual threat. So I kind of put this together and I said, this could be regarding a work or a business that you're seeing people making preparations in their individual parts of this to leave the situation permanently. And you're even considering maybe you should go too. However, the Holy Spirit, God, or someone with wise counsel is saying, wait, it's not yet time. You do see in the future various worldly creations coming fast, which might affect you, and it appears threatening. But it'll actually result in more upheaval than actual threat. And you do have angels with you through this. Or maybe there's two other people, only the dreamer could answer this, that is with you, walking through this with you. So what do you get from that, Eric?
All I keep hearing is Noah.
Oh, interesting.
All I keep hearing is you're standing outside of the ark and you're watching all these things. Noah comes down, maybe it's one of his family members, and they're saying, you've been preaching the word. There's people packing up to leave thinking they're going to escape all this. And the animals are now starting to come. The time is coming, and he says, no, wait, the time is not right yet because we got to get all the animals on board. Maybe it was this picture of, what Jesus said. It will be like the days of Noah. This may be a prophetic dream that related to the end times. That this, all I kept seeing the whole time was this picture of Noah. This wise old man standing next to her. Maybe it's two of the boys now, Shem and Ham, or Shem and Japheth, standing next to her, and maybe it's a family member. Maybe this is something a disaster that's going to be avoided in her life. She's going to be taken out of it, but there's disaster coming. And I just really, from the moment you really started reading it, I saw this wise old man as Noah. And I saw this picture, and I see this end-time prophetic word, that it will be like the days of Noah, and all this calamity, and there's all this noise, but it's not so much the noise, it's the rubble and the dust that's coming out of the noise, and the fallout from all this noise that we look at all these protests and all this stuff that's going on around the country, and nobody even knows what the message is. It's just all this dust. It's a big dust up. It's just a huge dust up. And nobody really knows. You can't sort it out. It's just not ripe yet. We don't even know what the message is. This one wants to do away with everything. This one wants to make everything for free. This one wants to, and it's all a big dust up right now all around us. And it's just not time for us to try to figure out until, if you look in the natural at the election cycle, all right, until there's a nominee, and the messaging comes out. Okay, is it going to be Medicare for all and free college tuition and 70% tax and doing away with all fossil fuels, and that's what the message is, and abort all the babies and do all these things and open up all the borders? It's all just, there's so much thrown at us that it's a stampede, and it's just a big dust cloud, and you can't make any sense of it whatsoever. And some wise person is saying, you know what? Don't react. Don't react to the circumstance. These people are running to the hills. You've got the what do they call them? The people that are buying 55-gallon drums of oats and the preppers. Okay, all the preppers. They're buying land out in the country and they're preparing. They're digging their wells and they're all waiting for the apocalypse. And so, you know, all these other people are packing up their gear, and they're the preppers, and they're running out there because they think they're going to avoid this coming onslaught. And there's this word from the Lord that's saying, look, it's just a whole big dust up. All right, and the time is not right. The time is not now. And so it's kind of the natural meeting the supernatural, and saying that the Lord is saying, look, you can watch the news and you can react, and you can start looking at moving out to the country and getting your own water well and your water supply, and be worried about these EMPs and be worried about killing babies and all these other things. But is this really, when the final analysis, is this really what's going to happen? Why don't you just wait before you jump on board the bandwagon? So, you know, I try to look at it from a natural, supernatural, where the natural meets the supernatural in seeing this. But it definitely is this Noah picture. And at the time the animals are coming, as they come 2 by 2, there's a lot of animals. There's going to be a lot of dust up, okay? It's going to be hard to picture as they come down. There's not paved highways that the animals are coming, and God's called them from every direction. So they're all coming to the ark. And so when we look at this prophetic word that it will be like the days of Noah, well, you know, this big dust up and the calamity that's going to come, there's going to be calamity to come. We know that from Scripture, but it's just not right now.
Yeah, that's very, very, very good. You know, also, God works on multi-levels. We seem to want to say, well, this is about this or that. And often I have found with our dreams, there are different levels in the dreams where, you know, something represents something on a small level, and it also represents something on a larger level and even larger. So I think some of that is going on here also. That is huge. That was really good.
It really is. It seems like this person, just from the first dream and the second dream, are kind of tuned in to the circumstances surrounding them and things impacting this woman and her family and her community, her country, the state of being, maybe the state of the church. This could certainly be about her church and her pastor and something going on within the congregation and the community. Only she would know what the scope is, whether or not it's the neighborhood, okay, and people are moving out because there's so much strife in the neighborhood, which she's already talked about, the gossip, whether or not it's the city that she's in or the church that she's in or the country that we're in. It could be any of that, only she would know how global and how large her perspective is. Unfortunately, Marsha, we have run out of time, but it has just been an absolute pleasure. We will see you right back here next month at your usual time on March the 6th at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time for the next edition of the Dream Interpretation Hour with Marsha Dunstan, author of The Complete Guide to Dream Interpretation, a simple step-by-step process to biblical interpretation. You can get it on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. You can go through the Igniting Nation website. You can go to mtdunstan.com and get lots more information and a lot of more insight on this. I tell you that I absolutely love this book. I have it at home. I don't have it here in the studio, which is odd. I'll probably ask for a second one so I can have one in the studio, but I have it at home because I do look this stuff up and I kind of find it very fascinating. I enter into conversations about it. But Marsha, you are a delight to us, and we welcome you to send us at info@ignitinganation.com your dreams, or send them to Marsha. And each month we pick several dreams to talk about and show you the process and the dialogue that Marsha and I go through that is Spirit-filled, Spirit-led, and how two different perspectives. All right? And I'm not a dream interpreter, but as I listen to Marsha explain, it also paints a picture for me, as it should for you. Marsha Dunstan, always great to see you. And thank your husband for all his hard work with the batteries and the smoke alarms and the computer, and how much we appreciate him.
All right, I will. Thank you. Have a great week.
You too. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the next edition of Revealing the Truth.